My Spotify homepage is a bit cluttered. I have my podcasts here, my playlists there, but one thing is guaranteed, well for me anyway, streaming music is probably the least satisfying activity I do daily. Hello and welcome to Streaming Music, Past, Present and Future with me, Stephen. In this episode I'll be giving my views and personal opinions on the music streaming experience and how it affects me. Recently, my granddad gave me a small portable radio he didn't use anymore. I thought it'd be a cool thing to keep, just in case. Anyway, I hardly used it really. It sat there in a drawer, and the most thought I'd give it was when my eyes would meet it and I'd wonder if I still had the charger for it. After I started this project, I thought it'd be fun to go and get it out and give it a try to see what I could find. I've been listening to it before I go to sleep. The sound is tinny and fuzzy. It's everything that music probably shouldn't be in 2023. So I'm sat there listening away, and Marvin Gaye's I Heard It Through the Grapevine comes on this little radio. It sounds like how it was probably intended to sound in 1967 when it was released. No Dolby Atmos or Bose to expose every element of the song to me. My point is my experience of listening to this song was heightened by the so-called worse form of technology. It was a breath of fresh air to have a selection of songs played to me that I had little control over. I know streaming services offer things like this. If you play a song and don't select another one, it'll play a similar song at things you'll like. But this was different. It felt more organic, and I couldn't just choose another song at will if I wanted to. The whole experience reminded me that less is more. So I did some digging and tried to find out how many people still listen to the radio. In a report by Prolific North, they discussed the listening figures for commercial radio between 2022 and 2023. The findings surprised me as I discovered that 88.8% of people in the UK tuned into a radio at some point within this time frame. This is a surprising stat given that it would appear to someone who had done little to no research that radio is falling behind in the market. As I said at the beginning of the episode, I have a complicated relationship with streaming services, particularly Spotify. I mostly use it nowadays for podcasts or to listen to songs I've already heard. It doesn't necessarily feel like a unique experience to me personally. I'll start it up, but unless a song pops into my head, I'll just find a new episode of one of the podcasts I listen to frequently. So for this reason, there is belief for me that streaming is sort of ruining my experience with music, if anything. But how about my physical music habits? I'll only buy an album physically if I already love it. I have hand-me-downs, but most of these are soundtracks or compilations that I just use for easy listening. I think possibly the biggest pro of Spotify is the personalised playlists. They're my only exposure to music I've never heard through Spotify really. Every now and then I'll throw on my moody mix, happy mix, or even my anti-anxiety dogs mix. Yes, that's a real playlist that Spotify has created for me based on my listening habits. But there's also the ones created by listeners, including hits such as The Feminine Urge to Put My Head in an Oven a la Sylvia Plath, including songs by Fiona Apple and Amy Winehouse, or Building Site Bangers, containing songs by Dr. Dre, Eminem and Paolo Nutini. Spotify has done a fantastic job on capitalising on the popularity and nostalgia of mixtapes. You can send them, edit them, download them to listen to on the go, and have playlists for different moods or times of day, something I think we take for granted in 2023. Another of the problems for me is that music doesn't feel like a luxury anymore. I don't go through the day itching to put my headphones on and listen to something. When the last Arctic Monkeys album came out, I didn't listen to it through a streaming service. I bought the album on release day from a high street music store that will remain unnamed. No free advertising here, folks. I couldn't wait to get it home, remove the shrink wrap and put it on my turntable and listen to it, taking everything in. Similar to the radio I mentioned earlier. For that period of time, the music I was listening to was my number one priority, and the weirdest thing is, I still haven't listened to it on Spotify. I've never had the urge to. This might speak for the quality of the album itself, but I do think the experience of buying it and listening to it had a part to play in it. To compare this to another form of media, I think the fact that I can't pick up my favourite computer game and play it while I perform other, more boring tasks makes me long for it when I do eventually have the time to play it. As I mentioned there, gaming is another of my hobbies, and Spotify aids that experience. The Spotify app can connect to lots of different devices and allows me to listen to music while I play games. I can use an aux code to listen to songs in the car, or connect to a Bluetooth speaker in the shower to listen there. This is one of the biggest benefits of streaming services in my opinion, being able to have music whenever you need it. In fact, 42% of Gen Z frequent and occasional gamers listen to music while they play games. So, having streaming services readily available on gaming consoles and PCs while they play is certainly beneficial to both industries. In conclusion, I think my experiences with music streaming services are mixed, to say the least. Of course, I have used Spotify for years and it has definitely helped my interest in music grow a lot, but I do enjoy buying and collecting physical music, and every now and then I bring up my radio when I need to relax. Thank you for listening. In the 6th and final episode of this series, I'll be attempting to evaluate my findings and truly decide whether streaming services have had a good or bad impact on the music industry, and attempting to predict how they'll affect us in the future. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.